Hello guys, in this video we're going to study the double bishop sacrifice checkmate pattern. The typical pattern for this double bishop sacrifice is as follows. We need to have two bishops, obviously, because it's a double bishop sacrifice. We have a queen that can be readily deployed to attack the king. And then we also have the rook, very important, that we can perform rook lift on the rook, so that the rook can enter attack against the king as well. And then usually the king doesn't have many pieces defending it. Here there is no more knight on f6. And so we can start our attack. Bishop takes h7, check. Now if king h8, then queen h5. And the game will end even sooner. So black's best chance here is to take the bishop. But queen h5 check. Only one move for black. And now we destroy the remainder of black's defense. Bishop takes g7. Threat is queen h8. So king needs to take. And here at this position, we need to bring the rook into the attack, because the queen wouldn't be able to checkmate the black king alone. And you really need to calculate deeply this position here. In any double bishop sacrifice, the key thing that makes it work or not is whether we can bring the rook fast enough to checkmate the black king. If the answer is yes, then the sacrifice is worth it. If the answer is no, then don't do it. And the move order is very important as well. For example, here, if we bring the rook too fast, so rook f3, rook lift, thinking that we can go to rook g3, then in this position, bishop takes c5. And of course, the queen can take the bishop, but then white has nothing after that. Black is slightly winning here, according to computer analysis. And if we don't take the bishop, let's say the king moves, hoping that we can checkmate the black king, well, this is even worse. White is losing heavily because now the black king will escape. So instead, in this position here, first we need to give check, queen g4 check. And it doesn't matter where the black king goes. Let's say black king goes king h8, and only then we go rook f3, with a view of going to rook h3. And this is totally deadly. I mean, black maybe can survive by doing silly sacrifice. For example, queen d8 is a computer best move here, but then rook h3, and then you have to sacrifice the bishop and the queen after that to survive, and white should win easily. Okay guys, let's study another position. Again, remember the key thing with double bishop sacrifice. It's not the double bishop sacrifice itself, because that's easy to see. But the key thing is you need to calculate where we can bring this rook fast enough to checkmate the black king. Feel free to pause the video if you want to do a deep calculation first, to see if we can indeed bring the white rook fast enough to checkmate the black king. And here, yes, the answer is we can bring the rook fast enough. So again, first we do bishop sacrifice. So bishop takes h7, king takes h7, bring the queen in. The pattern is almost the same as before, up until this point. Actually, at this point, we still do the same thing, which is queen g4, check. And now black has 3 ways to go, but this doesn't matter much. And then we do the rook lift and go to rook h3 next. But yeah, you need to calculate this in detail in the game, in a real game, before you actually perform it. Because here black actually has a defense, which is e5. Now rook h3 can be met with queen h6. Rook takes h6 and king takes h6. Material is actually almost equal, because we have a queen, but black has 2 rooks, and we have a rook, but black has 2 bishops, although we are up 2 pawns. But if you have calculated this position properly, then you will find that queen d7 will fork one of black's bishop, and that's why we are winning in this position, and that's why the double bishop sacrifice is worth it. Okay guys, let's look at another position. Here we play black, and black to move and to win. As I mentioned previously, the most important thing is not to just think about your sacrifice. The sacrifice is quite easy to remember. You sacrifice both bishops and get the queen in. But it is more important to calculate in detail after you perform the bishop sacrifice and then you get the queen in. Can you get the rook fast enough to checkmate the white king? Or will white be able to make some defensive maneuver and then you will sacrifice your bishops for nothing? That's what you need to calculate. So yeah, please feel free to pause the video again as usual if you would like to figure things out on your own first, and then we'll solve this together. Okay, as usual, we start with bishop takes h2. The h pawn goes first. King takes h2. We bring the queen in. Queen h4 check. We've seen all this pattern before. King goes back. Then bishop takes g2. King takes g2. And then as usual, we check the king first. Queen g5 check. And now the king has 3 options, but the best is probably king h1. Okay, and here comes the position that we should have pre-calculated before. Before doing the double bishop sacrifice, we should know for sure that in this position, we can bring the rook fast enough to checkmate the white king, and that the white piece does not have any other defense. So let's see if white has a defense. So we go rook f6, the rook lift. And now white might try a defense with knight f3, but then rook h6 check, knight h2, and now queen h4, and there's no way to stop queen takes h2 checkmate. So the double bishop sacrifice is worth it. Last position we're going to look at. Here the feel of the position is actually a bit different, and that's because of the g5 pawn. Previously, after we sacrifice the bishop, the g file is usually open for the use for our rook. But now there's a g5 pawn. But I want to show you this position just to show that it is still possible to do the double bishop sacrifice even though there's a g5 pawn. The plan is basically to go to g1 and then we can push g5 to g6. Either that or go to g4 and then rook h4. Let's just play this on the board. We do the usual sacrifice. Bishop takes h7, check. King takes h7. Queen comes in, queen h5 check. King g8. Now we sacrifice the other bishop. Bishop takes g7, king takes g7. And here it's very important to give a check first before bringing the rook into the attack. Just like in the previous position. The difference is that in the previous position we give a check on the g file, but because the g files are closed, then we give check on h6. And if we don't, then the rook will come in. Rook h8, and black position will be fine, and then we sacrifice the bishop for nothing. So this is a key move. Queen h6 check, and king g8. Now we bring the rook in, rook g1. And like I said previously, here we have 2 threats. First we want to go g6, opening up the position and opening up g file. Or we go rook g4 and then rook h4. And here white is already winning. Computer analysis show 7.6 advantage. Black simply has no defense for both of those threats. So that's one example of a position where it's still possible to do double bishop sacrifice even though g file is not open. Alright guys, that's all for double bishop sacrifice checkmate pattern. I hope you learned something new. Please do subscribe to my channel if you find the content useful. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.